about Gandhi towards the end in your book. My question is simply this: that you say how in 1917 in the session, the Congress session, he was addressed simply as MK Gandhi, right? And about a year later, in 1918, suddenly he's hailed as a Mahatma. So this transition was swift. It happened very quickly. And for somebody who came in so late into the freedom struggle, the man's elevation to a Mahatma, the status of a saint, a Mahatma, was, I mean, now when you look at it, it does sound dubious. And my question is also, how did people like Patel, for example, how were they so smitten by Gandhi? What was it about this man, in your personal opinion, that made him one? And then finally, uh, two things. What do you think was the most damaging thing done by him? And well, if you want to give him some credit, the most profitable thing or thing that he did by which India profited the most.
See, I think a few months ago, I had the benefit of interacting with an audience in Bengaluru, and I specifically said that Gandhi is a huge mixed bag. Okay.
Yes.
If you wish to agree with him on a few things, you're bound to find something which you can agree with him on. And there are several disagreeable elements to it. But the problematic aspect of his legacy is the, how do I call it? He effectively rendered the Hindu society defenseless, impotent, and almost incapable of standing up for itself.
Correct.
And those who did were coerced or guilt-tripped into laying down arms. Okay, that's where the balance sheet, according to me, reads red, seriously red, because to draw a line from the Avengers, the ledger is dripping with red, it's gushing red. Okay, because the man did not even think that we were entitled to the right to self-defense, the most fundamental of rights. Okay, that's the problem. But in terms of his elevation to the stature of Mahatma, my analysis based on the literature has been that he rode on the Khilafat movement, and therefore he was the first Hindu-Muslim leader of Bharat. Okay.
Right.
And there obviously was a certain degree of personal charisma, no doubting it. Okay. And after Tilak's passing in 1920, literally there was a huge vacuum.
Right.
And he had managed to galvanize the country through the Khilafat movement, but had significantly also sown the seeds for the future partition. Okay. And therefore, there is an element of vacuum coupled with all the optics that went with being the Mahatma. Think of, let's say, the India Against Corruption movement of 2011 onwards, which gave us the gift that is called Arvind Kejriwal. Okay. And if he had continued with his facade without revealing his true colors, don't you think Arvind Kejriwal would have actually amassed a certain degree of standing in the country, which he had managed to?
Yes.
Right? Thanks to the support of his now exiled guru, right?
Yes.
And therefore, I'm not saying that Gandhi was all facade. I'm not saying that. I'm not making that statement. I am clearly saying that he was a very shrewd politician, and he also had deep convictions. Some of them were deeply flawed, and some of them were deeply valued. Okay. So, for instance, his insistence on, or let's say his intransigent position with respect to Ambedkar, when Ambedkar wanted separate electorates for the Dalits altogether. I would certainly give Gandhi the credit for standing his ground, because that would have seen a serious fissure in the Hindu society and would have effectively ensured that we were offering an entire swath of population on the platter for proselytization. Right?
Correct.
That's one. Therefore, apart from his intellectual defense of dharma in his debates with Ambedkar, okay, position that I think was good. And he also believed that he was a passionate Hindu, a deeply devout Hindu. But there are some seriously problematic aspects, some speakable and some unspeakable. The unspeakable portions, leave it out. Okay.
Correct.
I would say, independent of that, as a public figure, I think the sense of responsibility that the position that you have and the influence that you wield, if not wielded responsibly, could come at the expense of loss of life for an entire community. That is something that you must always bear in mind. Okay.
Very true.
So, notwithstanding my agreement with him on certain aspects of dharma, when I realized that he did not do enough. See, here's the point. During the Boer War, he was happily recruiting for the British in South Africa.
For the British, exactly.
And in 1919, he was happily asking people to, let's say, support the recruitment. Right?
Yeah.
But when it came to their own defense, he's telling them not to. after the other side has revealed its card that it's happy to render this entire country bloody. What do you make of it then? I
Correct.
wish so. In 1920s itself, members of the Congress, see, the man was born in 1869, then you're looking at 31 plus 20, he was 51 years old. That's it.
Mm. Mm.
Not that too old for a politician, even by those standards.
Correct, correct.
His contemporaries were wishing his imprisonment or his retirement from politics in the Congress. Saying we wish he leaves the country or he does something else, because the Khilafat dragon is so difficult to ride and he has really created trouble, so much so that the leaders of the Khilafat movement, such as the Ali brothers, were openly speaking of seeking help of the Afghans to invade India to dislodge the British, as if we are idiots to not understand that the attempt is actually to revive the Islamic State.
Correct, correct, correct.
Right? Had it not been for the staunch opposition of Lala Lajpat Rai or Madan Mohan Malviya, I don't know what Gandhi would have done. I really don't know. Right? So while it seems as if he had a fantastic ability to pull the audience together, to actually create a unified movement and all of that, assuming for a moment that I give him 100% credit for the ability to galvanize the people, to what end? What did he do next with that?
Correct.
Right? Any number of people, so for instance, Tilak also galvanized people, Annie Besant also galvanized people. The Home Rule movement, by the way, was such a terror for the British that had it not been for Tilak's untimely demise, he would have done a vastly superior job. Okay, along with Annie Besant, along with the support of revolutionaries, he was doing a fantastic job. Okay, so when people give credit to Gandhi for having galvanized people, I'd say just go a step behind or a step back and ask yourself, has nobody else before him done that? Tilak did it. In fact, Gandhi inherited a better uniform, let's say, unified society thanks to Tilak's efforts, because the home rule leagues which were created across the country were responsible for galvanizing the community. And you go back a step further, you had the Swadeshi movement and the boycott movement, which were all the consequence of the partition of Bengal. The credit for the galvanization must start from the partition of Bengal, because that revived the nationalistic spirit significantly.
True.
Okay, so from 1906 until 1917, you had constant movements. And this man became a huge figure only in 1917.
True.
Right? So when you say, no, this man had inherited a caste-ridden, heavily divided society, sorry, don't project your stupidity onto the past, because the facts are different. No caste issue came in the way of the galvanization of the Hindu community at large when it came to the Swadeshi movement or the boycott movement or the Home Rule movement. There is no proof to this effect. So I believe that if Tilak had continued, Gandhi would have been nipped in the bud.
So sad that I mean, history can sometimes betray you, right? I mean, the fact that he died at the time that he did.
But to answer the last part of your question, people like Patel also have to be reassessed and reevaluated.
Okay.
In the context of the treatment of the revolutionaries and their position with respect to the revolutionaries. If his position was no different from that of Gandhi, why is Patel being given a free pass? Because you pit him against Nehru. That's why.
That's true. That's very
your
true.
comparison or your benchmark is Nehru, and therefore you feel that Patel is better because China wouldn't have happened, Kashmir wouldn't have happened. These are our list of laundry defects with respect to Nehru, right?
Correct.
But you don't ask what was his position then. And by the time Patel entered the picture, or even his elder brother had entered the picture, Gandhi had become a behemoth thanks to the position vacated by Tilak, right? Correct. It's very difficult to actually say no to that person, because while he gives the facade of democracy, he doesn't need to be democratic.
It's like the Communist Party today.
Exactly. So the facade of democracy is created because he says, you keep saying whatever you want, I will listen to you, so you will be given what is known as the right of hearing, but I have the right of veto where I don't need to hear anything, I can discard everything. So I will retain the optics of democracy, but what I run is an autocracy, period.
Beautiful. Correct. So you're saying that the very fact that Patel had or held Gandhi in such esteem need not be something that one needs to wonder at, because Patel himself had some serious issues with respect to
which I will deal with in the third book.
Wonderful. Looking forward to it.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.